Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers. In this video, I'm going to be doing my full review of the Rabbit Dream Chaser. Let's have a look at this thing. The Rabbit Dream Chaser costs £131 or $160, although if you're ordering to the UK, you will have to add taxes and delivery onto that, which could add up to £50 to the overall cost. So hopefully they will be available in the UK at some point soon. It weighs 311 grams or 11 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 5mm. The Dream Chaser is the first running shoe from kit brand Rabbit. Designed for daily training miles, it's a shoe focused on comfort, featuring a stretchy upper designed to be soft and breathable, and a Flowstate Foam ETPU midsole that offers a good level of cushioning. In addition to that midsole, there's also a contoured Blumaka insole to increase the softness and improve energy return, as well as 2 carbon fibre strips that sit on the midsection of the outsole, aiming to increase stability and performance. The outsole features a modest level of rubber around the outer sections of the shoe to improve grip and protect the midsole foam, as well as provide a covering for the carbon track strips. So the fit for me in the Dream Chaser, this is quite a roomy shoe. I'm a size 8 in the UK, and I did find there was a lot of extra space in this shoe. It's a very wide shoe in the forefoot. There's loads of extra space before my big toe. However, it does get quite narrow in the midfoot. So I did find that the side of my foot was pressing out a bit on the midfoot, but the rest of the shoe, there's loads of extra space. So it's a tricky one because I would say size down half a size in this shoe, but because of that, you're going to probably have a more noticeable narrowness in this shoe, so it might actually impact that. I've not had any major issues with running in this shoe in my UK size 8 because of the type of runs that I'm doing in this shoe maybe, but I can see that for some people, if you were going to size down half a size, you might have a struggle with the narrowness of the shoe. So a while ago, I did a first run of the Dream Chaser, and that, if you've seen that video, you'll notice that it's a completely different coloured design shoe, and that's because the original version of the Dream Chaser was updated for this version, which includes a number of developments to improve the shoe, presumably because of feedback they got from that original version of the shoe. The biggest of those is something in here called carbon tracks technology, which is essentially these mini carbon plates that run down the side of the shoe, either side of the shoe, and previously they were completely open to the ground, so when you were out running in them, you could hear them hitting the ground, and it probably wasn't wise to have some unprotected carbon plate design elements on the shoe. So they now have these rubber coverings across those, and that does actually have a big impact on the ride. That was one of the biggest discussion points of the earlier version of the shoe, and you could feel it clicking as you ran along the ground, and I assume that it probably would have been a bit of an issue if you hit something too hard. You might have damaged those carbon tracks. Now it has a rubber covering it, and it does make a big difference to the shoe. So I was fairly complimentary about the original shoe, although I did say that it was very much a shoe designed for easy day runs, cushioned runs. It was a very, very soft shoe. The midsole in it was noticeably soft when you went out and did a run in it. I enjoyed that for 5Ks and 10Ks when I was going very, very easy and very comfortably at my 5-minute kilometre pace, but it wasn't a very versatile shoe. You couldn't run very, very far in it. You couldn't run very fast in it because it was just too soft. It was a bit energy sapping after a period of time, which was fine for nice, easy, comfortable runs, like if you're running in the New Balance 1080 V13. But when you wanted a more versatile running experience, you couldn't get it from that shoe. Since then, along with that update to the outsole with those carbon tracks covering, they just feel like there's a different ride to this shoe. I think it's firmed up a bit, that midsole. I think they must have tweaked it or something, because it's still soft, but it feels a little bit more versatile now. It feels a little bit more like you can run long distance in it, and it doesn't sap your energy. I did a 20k in this shoe yesterday, and I'm not very fit at the moment. I was not looking forward to doing a 20k, and I used the shoe for it, and I actually really enjoyed it. I had no qualms with the shoe at all when I was out running in it. Felt very comfortable, felt like it got a bit of energy return in it, and I was very impressed by it. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this shoe for a 20k, because I would not have used the earlier version for a 20k because it just wouldn't have worked very well for that distance. And that was mainly on road, but it was across a little bit of compacted trail, a little bit of gravel, things like that. Worked absolutely fine, felt very comfortable, delivered like a very solid, versatile daily shoe. And that's one of the most surprising things about this shoe. So when you get a lot of shoes from brands that only produce clothing, they can be a bit hit and miss, because obviously you look at brands like Nike and Saucony and everyone, they've been making shoes for years and years and years. So when they release a shoe, they've got all that history of how they make shoes. They know a lot about the market, all those sorts of things. When a clothing brand releases a shoe, they don't have that experience. So the shoes that they bring out can be quite hit and miss. We've tried a few over the past few years, and quite more often than not, they're a miss. But this one actually, the original version I think was fine, but I never would have said it was one of the best shoes out at the moment. I think this one is a really solid shoe, and considering the price, I think in the UK it comes in at about £132, which is not that expensive for a really nice, comfortable, versatile running shoe that you can do a fair bit of stuff in. I would say that it works best for easy runs. It's a very comfortable, easy run shoe. The midsole is nice and soft, but not too soft now. You can get a nice, comfortable pace in it. And for longer runs, it seemed fine. That 20k I did, I could have easily ran further in the shoe and not thought about the shoe at all. I didn't really feel much on my feet. It just felt comfortable. The upper felt very nice and enjoyable to run in. And for picking up the pace, I think it would be okay. It's not going to be the most amazing shoe for picking up the pace. I think you're probably going to, at most, maybe do a few intervals in it, anything like that. But it's not going to be a shoe that you use for your tempo training, loads of faster intervals, things like that. But it's a shoe that firmly sits in that easy daily bracket. Things like the 1080 V13, where it's just a solid, comfortable running shoe that can do a little bit more. And it's probably a good shoe for people who are beginners, general runners who want a comfortable shoe. It's quite a nice looking shoe, so I imagine some people might buy this for a bit of running, a bit of walking around, going to the gym, things like that. But it's not just that, it is actually fairly versatile from what I've discovered in my testing. The outsole of the shoe, absolutely fine. I was running across different terrain yesterday and I had no issues at all. I haven't been running in the wet in this shoe yet, because it's not been raining since I've been running in the days I've been running on this. But I found that it's absolutely fine on all those surfaces. It's quite a grippy outsole, pretty good. No issues at all with that. The upper, I mentioned the bit of a slight issue with the sizing of it, but it's actually a really comfortable reinforced upper, so it really holds your foot in place quite comfortably. There's not loads of padding on here, but there's plenty around the key areas. So all in all, I think it's a really solid entry and surprisingly good entry for a clothing brand that's released its first shoe. So my verdict on the Rabbit Dream Chaser, I'm quite surprised by how much I like this shoe. I think for the price, it is a really nice shoe for easy daily runs, possibly even a bit more if you want it to do that. It's nicely balanced. It's got a relatively soft midsole. And it also gets a little bit of versatility from this carbon tracks design, possibly, and just feels like a shoe that you can do quite a lot of stuff in. I think there's a lot of good daily shoes out there nowadays. I wouldn't say this competes with things like the Saucony Dolphin Speed 4. That's a very good versatile shoe that skews more towards the faster sessions. I think this is more like your New Balance 1080 V13s. Not as soft as that shoe, but similar use case. Really comfortable, really nice to use. You can do quite a lot of your runs with it, and it feels very soft and supportive and comfortable. I think previously, the original version of this shoe, I wouldn't have put it in any lists of our best shoe guides or anything like that. But now I definitely think this is up there with the top 10 daily shoes out at the moment, which is quite an impressive feat, really. I'd definitely put it up there with things like the Puma Velocity Nitro 3, possibly the New Balance Fuel Cell Propel. I know it's a little bit more expensive than those shoes, but it's a similar ride. You're going to get the same sort of thing. I know Nick will kill me if he hears me saying that it's as good as the Puma Velocity Nitro 3. It's not as good as that shoe. That shoe's more versatile. It's just got a lot more to it. But the type of running that you're probably going to be doing in it, this is a competitor to that, which is a big deal for a shoe that has come from a company that's never really done it before. So yeah, I think it's a solid, comfortable shoe. If you're a fan of Rabbit, and I believe in the US, it's quite big over there. It's not so big over here. But if you're a fan of Rabbit and you wanted to get their shoes because you really like their clothing, you're getting a good shoe. You're getting a good shoe that I have not got any problems with at all. So for the price, well worth picking up if you like Rabbit and you need a nice, comfortable daily shoe. That's it from me on this review of the Rabbit Dream Chaser. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click that little bell. And if you're going to Catch and Blow, you can find a link to our podcast, which comes out a couple of times each month. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.